thing is not able to see me. This is Arlene. Welcome to the Ask Arlene Show Mastermind. We're here on Facebook Live, and we're also live on the link and Zoom. And I know it's a little bit late. We're a couple minutes behind. We're waiting for some more people to join us. Hi, everybody. What we're doing is called a mastermind group. And so what the mastermind is this concept that the whole is greater than the parts. So I know something and I have some content and I have some information. William has information. Binta has information. Shazad has information, and you have information. So with the mastermind, there are two people, and those two minds work together to create a third mind. So in the mastermind group, we're looking at increasing our understanding and our knowledge on a particular topic. Now, what are the rules of the mastermind? First and foremost, we have what's called a time frame. So we're going to be conscious that everybody wants to be able to share their concepts and share their ideas. So we're going to be cognizant of each other's time and be respectful so that we share and we allow other people to share as well. Another concept of the mastermind is this concept of respect. So as other people share their information and their ideas, we respect their concepts, we respect their ideas, and we allow them to share and not attack anybody. That's not what happens in the mastermind. It's a welcoming, it's an understanding kind of a group. And so in addition to time frame, being respectful of others as well, we're asking that within the mastermind group, you click on raise your hand so that I can see you when you would like to be acknowledged to speak. And that way I'll be able to make sure that everybody who wants to share has an opportunity to share, and so that we can all glean from your wisdom and be able to rise to the occasion. So I'm Arlene. I am the host of the Ask Arlene Show, which airs one time per week on television. And then we also do this mastermind group. And my goal is to help you to overcome fear. Some people have a fear of speaking. This gives you an opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas on a wide platform with people internationally. To get unstuck if you've been stuck. One of the things that happened to me several years ago is I was the president of a chamber of commerce, and my name was in the newspapers, and my name was in the magazines. And so whenever something happened in that city, I was called for comment. So when a new board of directors came in, that new board of directors did not want me as their chamber of commerce president. So when they chose to get rid of me and fire me, it wasn't a personal thing in a back room. My picture was on the front page of the newspaper, and it said across the picture, fired. So guys, I was stuck. I mean, I was really stuck. I was beside myself. I didn't know what to do. And that's what got me interested and involved in coaching. And also, yes, it said fired on the newspaper, on the front page. Some people never get to be on the front page of a newspaper, but I was on the front page with a negativism. So that was very, very distressing for me. And as a result, I started looking out for opportunities where I could... I started looking for opportunities where I could help to get unstuck. And that was how I found this concept of life coaching. That's how I found the concept of masterminding. And now I help other people who have been stuck to become unstuck. So overcoming fear, getting unstuck, and also living our best lives. So the third piece of the puzzle is, are you working in a capacity that is illuminating to you, that helps you to live your best life? So if you look on and follow me at all, you've seen that I've done a lot of traveling, and I'm posting things showing where I'm going, and that I want other people to also be able to live their best lives and fulfill their dreams, because this is not the dress rehearsal. This is actually the show. This is it. Okay, so whatever it is that we'd like to achieve, we must begin on the journey to do it. Okay, so without further ado, I'm also now going to ask Bill to introduce himself and tell us what your business is and your project and your endeavor so that people can also be aware of what you do. So talk nice and loud.
Well, thanks, Arlene. My name's Bill Hensley. And go by Bill, not what's on the screen there. If you call me William, I think I owe you money. So,
okay.
If I get a phone call, is this William? No, it's Bill. But I'm in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia. Moved up here from Atlanta. Get out of all that heavy traffic and just love it up here in the mountains. So, made a big step up as far as lifestyle. That was great. But basically, what I do for helping others is, my primary job. And I want to say that, job. Isn't that interesting when you're self-employed? You say my job, because my job, if you want to call it that, I don't work for anybody, but my job is to help others increase their physical activity. I work with a company called Vitality, which is a South African company actually, but they're global, been around for about 60 years. And we married that with financial services. And now what has happened, and it's amazing, unfortunately for a lot of people on this call, perhaps, if you're in the U.S., you can take advantage. But we are going global. We're going to expand into Mexico and Canada because we married financial services and the health industry together.
Financial services and health industry.
Yeah. Now, it's really interesting. I can show people how they get financially rewarded for making healthy choices. So the primary focus on our company really is the physical part, because financial wealth without health is not good. I mean, you can have all the money in the world, but if you're on a walker, it's no quality of life. But if you're in great shape and an Olympic athlete, but you have no money, you're going to do a lot of staycations.
Right.
So it takes health and wealth to have a masterful life, and that's what we do: show people how they can take advantage of that. So that's what I do: show them how that can happen for them, and we're going global with this thing. So it's a very young company. This marriage only happened just over a year ago, and so that's why I'm spreading this information. So. Thanks, Arlene, for the chance to share that. Look forward to the others sharing their businesses.
Beautiful.
Now, let me ask you
Beautiful.
something.
Okay, one more thing. Go ahead.
How to do yoga, but Binta has.
No, Binta's gonna do her own. Yes. Binta is going to do her own intro. We're not gonna have Bill do Binta's intro. Yes, we're gonna allow Binta to do her own. So now we have the lovely Binta, who is going to tell us who she is, introduce herself to the group, and also tell us what you do with excellence. Thank you, Binta, for joining the Mastermind.
Hello, hi, Bill. Thank you so much. Hi, Arlene. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Binta. I'm originally from Africa, Gambia, West Africa, but I live in the United States. I'm living in New Orleans, Louisiana, with my wonderful husband, Mark.
Wow.
And what I'm working on is self-mastery for my own self, getting to know who I am, and using what I'm learning to create things that will serve people in a positive way in the world. Meaning I have a small business that I'm working on, and I'm also a yoga teacher. I finished my yoga teacher training last year, and I'm just having the nerves to get in front of people to actually speak and teach. So what I've been doing is getting on live videos. I created a Facebook group on a private Facebook where I challenge myself to do live videos, which is so challenging for me, but I do it anyway just to grow. So I surround myself with positive people like you all and this community of people that teach me and allow me to grow each day. And so everything I'm learning, I want to use that to also spread my light into the world, to serve people in a positive way, to let people know that we all have the power within us to grow and to learn and to flourish. You just have to do it. So That's what I have to say.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And we're very happy to have you with us all the way from South Africa by way of America. So you're actually going to be keen to share with us in this mastermind because we're talking about exactly what's in line with your yoga experiences and truly helping people to live a better life, better lifestyle. Okay, so without further ado, Dennis, can you come online and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do in the world? We already know, but we'd love for you to introduce yourself. Dennis?
Dennis is hiding.
Okay, we're going to come back to Dennis. Okay, we have Christina and we have Shazad. So Shazad, why don't you share with us who you are and what you do in the world?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shazad, and I'm with the insurance and financial industry since last 23 years. And I have been in New Orleans many times to attend $1 Million Roundtable Conference. I like New Orleans in the world. You know why? It's a small and walkable city. I love, going Mississippi River and walking on the river path and all. It's a river market. It's very nice along the Mississippi River. Okay. And I love, New Orleans. Still, sometimes I feel, I have to go there and see again the people. After 2007, because of the Katrina and everything, whatever. And after that, we don't get time to go there in New Orleans. But we attend so many conferences, some other cities of US and all. But I'm in the insurance field. My interest is to sell life insurance business. And although I'm doing investment and other things also, but I work with AIG. 23 years in UAE market, where it's the hardest to sell insurance in the UAE market, where the people, 90% people, they are expatriate. Selling in US to US people is easy because the people, they are not going anywhere. They are living there for the longer time and till the maturity. People selling to Chinese in China is easy. Selling to Canadian to Canada is easy, but selling in a country like UAE, where 90% people, they are expatriate and they don't know when they have to leave. And
is there a way that I can mute the other people?
When the work visa finish and all, they have to go back and they have to leave their all assets and everything there in the country.
Okay.
And selling the long-term plan there for 10 years or 15 years to pay for the future financial securities for your family and all. It's not easy. It's the hardest job to sell in UAE. But there I worked 23 years. I become life member of $1 Million Roundtable, foot of the table and top of the table. 2007, when the market crashed down and AIG fall, after that I decided, because I got the Canadian immigration in 1999, because my family was there in Calgary that time. So I never thought of coming here in Canada because my aim was to establish myself and in UAE and then come to US and join New York Life or some other, like this. That was my idea. Mm-hmm. And later I decided, okay, now the insurance market is over because I'm already in the age of 60s plus. So I thought I cannot do that much hardship now. So let me go to Canada and I have to start my own restaurant type of thing. Because I have in my mind that let me start some restaurant. It's a cash flow type of business.
Well, a lot of people that are involved with our group are also business owners. A lot of the people who are involved with this concept of overcoming fear, getting unstuck and moving forward are people who want to expand their financial base, who want to live their best lives. And so we're very happy to have you with us on the call today. And the other thing we're going to ask, as we do this mastermind, we're going to ask you to please mute yourself if you're not the one speaking so that other people won't be interrupted when you're talking. So let's begin. You're an insurance Binta, you are somebody who is very involved with the healing and with causing people to feel better when it comes to through the medium of yoga. Bill, you're doing financial and physical wellness. Dennis, who's on, he does poetry, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself later once he gets in. But he's doing poetry, and so that is also about helping people to feel better and to understand concepts in simple ways through the use of poetry. And then we have Christina, who's also on with us. She's an esthetician, so she is helping people to cultivate a better look and a better feel. And so it leads me to what we're discussing today. So many of us in this time, as you mentioned, Shazad, are dealing with the pandemic, and we're dealing with some of the issues that happened in Louisiana with people who have lost their homes, and in California, which is where I've spent a lot of time, we're dealing with the wildfires. And so people have been displaced due to the wildfires, as well as in the city. We just had in New York City, which is also my other home, we have had the floods in just recent weeks. And so this concept of us having a better sense of self and a better mindset in order for us to move forward is extremely important. And so it brings to mind the billionaire who was the owner of Apple. When he passed away, guys, are you aware that he had $10 billion, billion with a B, in the bank? And so he was at the top of his game in terms of his business, in terms of his network. There is the CEO of PepsiCo, who is a female, who says that she would go to him on occasion to seek advice, and he would tell her how best to run her company. And yet, with all that fame, with all that fortune, with all that financial success, he's no more. Okay, which leads me to the importance of what we're discussing today, which all of us are involved with. So my thing is life coaching. And so I help people from the life coaching perspective. But this concept of how we can move forward, get unstuck, live our best lives is so important, because without us having our health and our fitness and our mindset in order, it really doesn't matter how much we're doing in terms of our business, because we're still not going to be prosperous. So last week on the Mastermind call, we talked specifically about how we expand our client base. And all of us came up with, everybody basically said organic methods that they were using in order to expand. But I'd like for us to share some of the tools and techniques that you use in your own lives and in your own businesses that help you to move forward and feel better and to cultivate a better mindset so that you can be able to function and truly win at the game of life. So some of the things that I do, I have a 5,000 step per day challenge, and I have asked people to walk with me on a daily basis, just 5,000 steps. Now this is not, anything too complicated or too complex. It's something anybody and everybody can do, but it's a microscopic win, which changes the needle point and moves it from here to here. So it's just a microcosm, just a small thing, but it's a microcosm of life. Because if you can win with the 5,000 steps and make yourself feel a little better, then that's a win. And that's going to make you just a little bit closer to that end goal when it comes to those big things and the big issues of life that we really want to achieve. Another thing that I use, another tool that I use, is this concept of masterminding. When we meet together and we talk with each other and we discuss, we have an opportunity to share our thoughts and be heard, as well as we have an opportunity to illuminate and enlighten the group. And so we lend value to the group, and it's an environment where we're being supported, because we all need to feel supported when we're sharing our information, because there's some other venues and some other mediums out there where we could share our content and share our information, but we're not going to be well received. So this is an environment where we can be well received. Another tool for getting unstuck and feeling better about yourself and moving forward is journaling. So one of the things that I do is use this journal. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has writing on it. And so daily it gives me inspirational tips and techniques just before I begin to write about my journey and my day and what's going on. So I plan in it. Jim Rohn, who's a famous speaker, he says that he uses his journal not to chronicle his day, like not to chronicle his thoughts, but actually to chronicle his day. So who did he see? Who did he meet? What were the wins? as opposed to 6 o'clock, I have to do this, or I'm going to do that. You chronicle your wins. So it's up to you what you want to choose to use the journal for, but it may be to chronicle your wins, to chronicle your life so you can pattern and see what worked and what didn't work. Or it could be just to plan, ahead of time and say, okay, at 2 o'clock I have this, at 3 o'clock I'm going to do this, and stay on track. So there are different ways to use this journal. Other people use it as a gratitude journal, being thankful for the amazing things that you have accomplished in life, or the fact that you even have life, all the things that you can think of that would cause you to feel happy and to feel good. You can use this as a gratitude journal to be thankful, because wherever energy goes, energy flows. So if we're sharing how grateful we are for all of these wins, the likelihood of us having more wins is greater. So there's so many other things that I use, but those are just 3 tools and tips that I use in order to feel better, in order to be empowered. And these things help me in my business and in my projects and in my endeavors in order to win. So I'd love for you guys to share with us, what are some things that you're doing that help you to win at the game of life and cause you to feel better and to be able to function better and move forward?
Start if you want.
Please.
What I do to elevate myself each and every day is first of all, like you say, gratitude. I have a gratitude journal, whatever you call it, where I'm always grateful for every day in my life. Waking up in the morning,
yes,
and just being alive, my breath and everything, and being here, having the opportunity to be in a country where I am able to really search for who I am. Because so many people don't have the opportunity to actually sit down and really get to know who they really are, because there's so many challenges going on, and for somebody to ask really, Binta, what would you like, what do you want in your life? And so I do that. I'm really grateful. So I keep my gratitude journal all the time. And another thing I do is meditation. Meditation is so powerful for me. I meditate all the time. I chant. I love to chant mantras. Going to yoga teacher training, they taught me so much about mantras, and I use a lot of mantras in my life. And what you said about the power of the mastermind, that is the most powerful thing in my life right now that I use. I am surrounded by such amazing, heart-centered human beings in this place that I'm in, this country that I am right now, all over the world. I'm just so happy and grateful for that. I could be feeling weird and then I'll go to a mastermind and I'll just feel so elevated. So I'm just so happy and grateful for being surrounded by such amazing, powerful people like you, Irene, and Bill, and so many other people that I'm meeting here. So yeah, the power of the mastermind is incredible. So I'm grateful. Those are the things that I do. I'm just grateful. Just grateful.
Beautiful.
That's what I do all the time. And yoga, of course, I practice yoga, meditation.
Beautiful. Thank you, Binta. Binta shared that one of the things she does is use her gratitude journal in order to feel better, move forward, expand her energy. She uses meditation. She uses yoga. You guys know that I'm so glad you also mentioned the gratitude journal, because Oprah Winfrey, who is one of the wealthiest women in the country and one of the wealthiest in the world, she says that the gratitude journal, she credits it with giving her the level of success that she has accomplished. She says she uses the gratitude journal every day. It helps to set her tone, because now she comes into the day giving energy to all of the great things that have already happened. And so now she's looking for those things that are going to happen today that are also in tune with giving her success in her business. So I want to say hi to Rick. Hi, Rick Braun, and to all of the other people that are on listening. And I'm not able to type, But to all of you, we welcome you. We thank you that you're listening, even though we can't see your faces. And I want to welcome our new person that just came on. We've never had Laurel with us before. Welcome to the Mastermind. I'm going to give you an opportunity to just tell us who you are and what you do in the world. I know, but because we've been working together, but just quickly share with us who you are and what you do in the world. I'll give you the opportunity for a few minutes. We can't hear you. You have to take off your mute. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for joining us today, Laurel. We're so happy to have you, and you're in line with exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about how you can be more healthful and have a better mindset in terms of moving forward in your business, how to overcome fear, get unstuck, live your best life. As a nurse, you're right in line with telling us what are some tools or techniques that you use in your life in order to expand and in order to move forward. But before we move on, I also want to welcome Rosalind Maloney. Hi. Thank you for joining us. And you guys can type in your statements as well, and I will read them if they are in the chat. Okay, so we had Binta that shared what she does. Somebody else, tell us what you do in order to win at the game of life. What are some tools or techniques you use to have your mindset in order and to be more healthful?
Mine's Bill. I'll go because I do have a pretty good little regimen in the morning. But you know what I haven't done, and I really appreciate you guys sharing, was actually a gratitude journal, as opposed to just having a gratitude list. But I do have a gratitude list. But the journal is another concept. That's a little different. And because the things I'm grateful for does change from day to day, to week to month to month. So that would be pretty cool. So I appreciate you guys sharing that. But I am a part of Noble Golden, and a lot of the videos and the teachings that's available there for free are, teachings from Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, people like that. And most of the leaderships that I've seen start their their mornings, before they ever get going, step foot out of the house. All incorporate something like Binta was sharing, meditation, which I've been practicing transcendental meditation for 30 years. Meditation, and one thing that I attribute a lot is prayer. The talking and then the listening. And that, and one other thing that I think has been a big help for me in the last couple of years is visualization, because you're right, the self-talk, visualization is a good defender against negative self-talk, because it's hard to imagine great things happening in your business and be thinking about all the bad things that could be happening that's made up in my mind. Most negative self-talk is not, most of that stuff never happens, so why do it? And it's so obvious when I'm around people that I know that's working, because I see it, I recognize it right away. People that are close to me, like they have a negative, some kind of a small negative conversation with their boss, and all of a sudden they think, okay, I'm going to get fired, I'm going to be homeless, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's, and I think, oh my God, that's such bad self-talk, So I recognize it. So I know that visualization is just the opposite end of negative self-talk. You can't do both. And so I know that's been a big help as far as getting unstuck. And then the other thing I remind myself every day is my position in working with other people is starting the day knowing that my position is to add value to others, not to me. That's a hard one for me to get on a daily basis, so I have to practice that every day. Because if I don't focus on trying to add value to others, I'll be thinking of what value can I add to myself. It's just my nature to be self-centered and selfish, you know? So I have to remind myself, it's not about me, it's about others, you know? But it's a sticky point for me. So the visualization and the morning meditation and prayer helps me stay out of being so self-centered and selfish. So I appreciate this. And drinking water first thing in the morning, I haven't got quite used to that. But from what I understand, it's very important. And it's something I've learned recently. So those three things. And I'm going to try journaling, Arlene and Vince. So I appreciate the tip. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bill. So just to agree and punctuate what you said, Bill, when you were talking about having your visualization, many people think, oh, well, visualization may just be fluff, or it may just be for when you're doing yoga or when you're doing something far-fetched. It's not for business owners. But Bill Gates talks about his vision all the time. He's also one of the wealthiest, one of the most successful business owners that we have in our country. And he says that his vision was to have a computer on every desk. And because he kept to that vision, when he got fired from his job because he wanted to do this at IBM, he went off and started his own company doing just that, making sure that Microsoft had a computer on every desk. And pretty much he fulfilled that vision and that role and that goal. And it was at the time considered frivolous. It was ridiculous. You know, for those of us who are old enough, or not old, but mature enough to remember when we didn't always go to work with a computer on our desk. Imagine that was somebody's vision where they just sat down and decided, this is what I'd like to have. And even though it sounded ridiculous, they visualized it and it came to pass. Also, I love to talk about Elon Musk, who's another very successful business owner. Now, how ridiculous would it have been if your kid said to you, oh, Mommy, Daddy, my dream is that I'm going to have a bus that goes to the moon. We would have laughed. But that was his vision. And today we have SpaceX. Today we have cars that drive without people. That's phenomenal. But at the time, it sounded like it was fluff. It's ridiculous. In a serious business meeting or on a serious call like this, why would we discuss something like visualization? Well, because when we look at the facts, we see that there's so many very successful people who've branched out, who've done amazing things, and they've used these same tools, techniques, and skills. So visualization, Bill, thank you for sharing that, because I didn't share that, and none of us shared that. Thank you, because that is truly ideal, and it's everything. If you have a vision for where you want to go, then the likelihood of you achieving it, the likelihood of you moving forward in that vein is so much greater. And for the people that are here on this call, and for Rosalind, and for Dennis hasn't spoken, Christina hasn't spoken, and all of you that haven't spoken, I know that you guys have great ideas as well. And even if you don't want to come on camera, but you just want to type it in the chat so that we hear and understand your thoughts, or you want to state it without putting on your view, that's also allowed as well. So who else wants to share with us something that they do or a tool that they use in order to move forward, get unstuck, and live their best lives? Okay, I'm going to share another one that I use. So we talked about, or Bill talked about his self-talk. He talked about visualization. He talked about adding value to the people that we're working with. So it's not just about how many clients do I get, or how do I get from the people, but it's about what can I give? What can I share? And that's truly how we expand the business or the product or the venture. Or if you have a day job like Laurel and you're looking to expand and be a manager or run a facility, as I have, one of the key things is your self-talk. What are you giving energy to? Where energy goes, energy flows. Somebody here, Christina on, says, I go for walks and I listen. It flashed off. I guess she listens to music or listens to positive content. Even this mastermind, this is positive content. This is an opportunity for us to, okay, she said, I go for walks and I listen to your content, Arlene. Thank you. It allows me to clear my head and to feel more empowered. Of course, step number one, where is your mindset? And what are you doing on a daily basis to shift it? Every one of these successful people who are either on the call now or who have worked with the Mastermind group or are a part of my life coaching program, we all have, as Bill said, morning routines. Morning routines where we're listening, and as Christina said, where we're listening to positive content. So whether it's my content, I'd love for you to click on and listen to my content on YouTube, or to be a part of my life coaching. Or if it's somebody else who's one of the other coaches that have been a part of the show, and you could just click on and find those coaches as well. Every single day we should be listening to positive content and finding materials that speak to the needs and to the issues of the day, not just listening to, for example, the news. So I was listening to the news the other day and it's talking about how many young people have died as a result of COVID, or how the floods were in New York and the fires in California. But if we positively or constantly are hearing the positive content, then that's what we're going to reflect and that's what we're going to do. So we talked about several tools. We said self-talk, we said adding value, and we talked about visualization. Another thing you touched on, Bill. Well, first, let me see who else wants to share. Thank you, Christina, for sharing that, for typing it in the chat. Dennis says, I do a positive form of mental programming. Ah, Dennis, what's your positive form of mental programming? How do you mentally program? As we've seen that this is so essential and so important. He says, I do a positive form of mental programming 3 times a day, in the morning, at 8 a.m., in the evening, after work, and at night, approximately at 11 a.m., then again and again at 11 p.m. with positive affirmations. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dennis. And what's key in what you said is the fact that you have a set time. You have a schedule. So many of us wait until something happens, and then we tune in to the positive content. Oh, well, you know, I'm feeling a little down today. Let me listen to one of Arlene's YouTubes, or listen to some content from Binta from the last Mastermind group because she's so motivational. But what you said, Dennis, which we all need to utilize, is that you just have set times. So it's part of your daily routine where you're scheduling exactly when you're going to listen to these concepts. So for some of us, it's noontime, you know, at lunchtime. Every time you have lunch, you click on the soundtrack and you start listening. Or you rise up in the morning and it's the first thing you do. You listen to something positive before you begin writing in your journal, or before you begin looking at all of the scrolling materials on your iPhone. So a key is that we set the tone for the day. Okay, and not allow the day to set the tone for us. And the way we do this is what Dennis just shared, which is by scheduling our times for these positive outlets. Okay, thank you, Dennis, for sharing that. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, everybody. These are great nuggets. Somebody else, share with us what you do in order to be empowered, overcome fear, and get unstuck. Go ahead, whether you're on the internet or you're here on the Zoom.
Can I?
Please, Shazad.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, since long I'm in insurance industry, so I think insurance gives the value to people's life. So my success is, and my plan is different, We believe that meeting people, seeing people every day, seeing new people every day is actually, gives success to your business. And meeting more people means you are actually familiar to more people. And the more people start recognizing you, that you are in the profession or you are in the business. And we believe that offering solutions, offering plans to people, that opens the mind of people that they have to think about their families, their dependent and their children and all. Let them think that they have to decide whether they need investment, they need insurance, or why they need insurance and why they need investment for the purpose. Either they are looking for how much they need for comfortable and peaceful retirement, how much they need for the children education, how much they need for their own old age and all. So these are the purposes we have to discuss, we have to come and we have to sit with the people, we have to meet more and more people. That will improve our business and that will give us success. So that's it. Only support is required. Only the relationship, your friendship, your relationship, your table where you are sitting, and how many people know you. Because this is much important for you to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahzad. So what he said was, or what I heard from what he said was peace of mind. I'm hearing peace of mind. I'm hearing that if you want to feel better, one of the key things that you could do is put together your insurance. Look at your plan to make sure that you are feeling safe and you're feeling secure and that you're less stressed about what could happen tomorrow or what could happen next week, which is also a key thing. They say that when it comes to, they say, not Bill Gates, but the gentleman from Apple, that he died from cancer. And they said statistically that they can trace 2 years back, if they look at it, to some very stressful incident or incidents that happened that correlated with the person who received cancer 2 years later. So does this happen in every single situation? No. But they said it's happened in so many situations that it actually is considered something that people look at. So if we're less stressed and our bodies are less riddled with stress, we can certainly be able to do better in our businesses and at least be around to be able to share in the fruits of our labor. And everybody on here has been working hard and working diligently, and we want to be able to share in the fruits of our labor. So thank you, Shahzad, for sharing that with us as an additional concept as to how we can be more relaxed and to be more adept in our careers. You said insurance. Have a plan.
People actually, the people, they don't realize, the value of insurance unless, these people, they come into the situation when they have to, and they are avoiding the things.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, we want to acknowledge Rosalind. So one of the things that we do in life coaching, or one of the things that is part of my program, is we help people to cultivate better speaking skills, okay? And so we have a program that helps people with speaking. So everybody on this call has an opportunity to come forward and speak live. But if you just want to share your content, that's beautiful as well. We want to hear it. So Rosalind shared with us that her concept is affirmations. Thank you so much, Rosalind, because I have that written down here, that if somebody else doesn't say it, affirmations are awesome. When we talked with Bill and he was talking about self-talk, affirmations are in line with helping us to shift our self-talk. Rosalind, if you weren't here, we might not have announced that one as something that's ideal for us to use to move forward. So when it comes to affirmations, have a set of affirmations ahead of time that you know you're going to use to speak into your world. so that your mind is constantly thinking of those positive things, regardless, a little bit further away because I hear an echo, regardless of what's happening in the world. Affirmations are essential. Now, this is the secret with affirmations. Thank you, Rosalind. The secret is that we don't just say the affirmations, because people have said, oh, well, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. And they look and they say, I didn't become a millionaire. This stuff doesn't work, Arlene. You're a life coach, but this is not true. So this is the secret. It's not just about what we say when we do our affirmations, but it's about our emotions. It's about our feelings. It's about what are we experiencing in our bodies while we're saying this affirmation. So I give you an example. I said, I want to meet the Vice President of the United States. At the time, my role was, I was interested in government. I had a degree in government, but I didn't have a wealthy family. I didn't have the government contacts that I needed. And so I said, I want to meet the Vice President of the United States. Now, I could have just said the affirmation. I want to meet him. I want to meet him. I want to meet him. He's running for president. He's at the top of my particular field or my particular career. So I'm just going to sit in my house and say the affirmation, and it may not have worked. But what did I do? By my saying the affirmation with the emotion that I was sure that I was going to do it, opportunities started to come my way. So one of the opportunities that came by was I found out by word of mouth, just happened to, and it's always like just a happenstance, I just happened to hear that the vice president was going to be at an event in my neighborhood. So in my state at that time. And so I said, well, I'm going to go to the event and meet the vice president. Problems. I didn't have any money. I didn't have the $1,000 for the ticket. Problem. I didn't know who was going to give me a ticket, how I was going to get there. And I didn't have the contacts. So what did I do? Did I stop my affirmation and say, well, I don't see it on the outside. It's not happening. So I'm going to stop the affirmation. No. What did I do? I kept saying it and I kept feeling the emotion. And the more I felt the emotion, the more sure I became about the fact that I was not only going to see this vice president, but I was going to see him at this event. Happen chance. I kept saying it. I kept using the affirmation. I went to a function, a political function. It wasn't necessarily the vice president's function, but it was a function that was political. I saw an elected official at the function. I asked somebody else to introduce me to that particular elected official. I didn't know whether she had tickets or not, but I had to move from my comfort zone, which would have been at my house, sitting down, just saying the words, and get up, move to the event, and then make a request. So I made a request, and the young lady who knew this senator, she introduced me. She didn't say give her a ticket, she just introduced me. Now then it was up to me because I knew what I had felt in my heart, what I knew in my mind, what I had experienced in my little gratitude journal and all of these pieces. So I said, hi, I introduced myself, I got to meet her, but then I took it a step further. After I had met her and I listened to her story, because the elected officials love to talk, allow people to talk and listen to what they have to say if you feel like the person is a person of value who could possibly help you in your goal or your endeavor, even if you don't know that they surely can. So at the end of all her conversing and all the people had left, I made my ask. I said, I'd like to have a ticket to the president's ball, the vice president's ball. And she laughed at me. She said, why would I give you a ticket? There are far more high-level elected officials like mayors of different cities than you. Why would I give you a ticket? And I didn't have an answer for her, but I said, if you were willing to give me this ticket and I had this opportunity, I am sure that I would be able to help other people later on to know how they can be able to move forward in their particular endeavors. And I kept talking. And she said to me, no, I'm not necessarily going to give you a ticket. So she wasn't really definitive and she wasn't exuberant about giving me one. She just said, shook her head. So guess what I did? Affirmations, being sure, feeling the emotions. I moved forward And I went to the event. I showed up at the event, guys. And I had on my long gown like everybody else, the black gown, and the back was out and the hair was done and, had the shoes on. And I looked like everyone else that was at the event. And I went to the front and the gentleman said to me, "Where's your ticket? Where's your ticket for this event?" Because I looked like everybody else. There was no reason for him to believe that I was any less than anybody else there. I didn't have a ticket. And I said, "Oh, what am I going to do?" I took a minute to think and I just allowed it to come forth because I was sure. I said, "I'd like to speak with Senator such and such." Now, she doesn't know who it was that was asking for her because it's an event full of people who were highly qualified. So the gentleman went and he got the senator. She came out. She saw me. She rolled her eyes. And guess what she said, guys? "Come on in." She had the ticket. She had a seat at her table. She had a seat at her table. Now, she just thought it was a coincidence that she happened to have a seat at her table. I happened to show up. Oh, okay, let her in. But I'm telling you, affirmations, these tools, techniques that we're talking about and discussing today are invaluable and they work. And I can tell you story after story. And I'm sure the people who are masterminding with us can tell you story after story. So that's how I met the Vice President of the United States. And that was the first political event that I attended. Now, another secret, and I'm going to get off because we only have 1 minute left. He asked me when I got to him, "What do you want?" There I was, this young person at this political event, the $1,000 a plate dinner. I'm there. I must want something. But I was so focused on getting there to the event, I never thought about, wow, when I actually meet him, what am I going to ask him for? What am I going to say? And so I said, "A picture?" Because that's all I could think of. So secret number 2. When you're doing your affirmations, don't just determine what you want, but determine when you get there and you achieve the thing that is your goal, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? What are you going to do with it? Take it to the next step. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on the Mastermind call today. We enjoyed having you with us. Every Mastermind call, we ask you to tell us one thing that you're going to do this week because accountability is a key secret. So tell us one thing that you're going to do this week that you'd like us to hold you accountable for.
I'm just going to shine my light and keep doing what I'm doing.
Shine her light. Keep talking and sharing what she's been doing. Beautiful. We love it, Binta. Somebody else, tell us.
Seeing more and more people.
See more and more people. Beautiful. You've got to talk to the people in order to shine your light and move forward and get unstuck, whether it's a business, a project, or endeavor. Next person.
I was going to say that I'm going to take a walk every day this morning so that I put myself intentionally in a peak state so I don't wait for life to happen to me.
Beautiful. Christina's doing daily walks so that she can feel better and illuminate her thoughts and her mind and be able to move forward. Excellent. Bill?
I'm going to start my gratitude journal because
Woo!
and Binta, and I'm going to do another Facebook Live on this very subject.
Ah, beautiful. So now we have believers. Bill is going to do his Facebook Live on this very subject, and he's going to start his gratitude journal. So we were helpful to you. Laurel, what are you going to do? Come back to you. Okay, who haven't we heard from? Ruth, it was a pleasure having you. We have not had an opportunity to talk and share. I'm so excited that you're on the call. We love to have you come back next week and tell us what you do and share with us more. But tell us one thing we can help you stay accountable for. You're on mute. We can't hear you. Yes, we can hear you now.
More organized and more maybe figure out how to really get myself known other than, posting and stuff. It's been quite challenging. Giving up almost on that.
Beautiful.
Thinking about my YouTube channel, so I'm figuring out those things.
Beautiful. This is an opportunity for you to share online and be able to be posted as far as what it is that you do, your business project or endeavor. So I want you to keep coming, Ruth, and I want you to sign up for some time so that we can have more of our one-on-one time so I can help you to manifest that.
I would love to talk to Arlene Sunshine.
Some
My
more.
God, this is like one of the things I want to do next week for sure.
Thank you so much, Ruth.
So you're like the sunshine of my life. When I see you, like the day goes by perfectly. You know.
Love you, Ruth.
Like, I hope Lisa Nichols is not jealous because I forgot. I've kind of switched from her to you now.
Thank you. We love Ruth. We love Ruth. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to hold you accountable because you're going to be online more and more. You are invaluable. Your voice is invaluable. Dennis, what are you going to do this week that we need to hold you accountable for? You're on mute, Dennis. Oh, you're going to type? Okay, Rosalind. Rosalind says... Oh, Laurel, you're ready. Go ahead.
No, I'm just reading the chat from Dennis.
Oh, what do you want to, go ahead, share. Tell us what he said. Oh, I can see it now. I must send over. Oh, he's working on his book. It is a poetry book, and we've been working to help him to get his book released because that's in line with overcoming fear, getting unstuck, and living your best life. Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a book that you've always had in your mind or in your heart, but you've not brought it forth. So Dennis is in a situation where now he's going to publish his poetry book. We're helping him with that. So this week he's doing some editing. Awesome, Dennis. Okay, we heard from only one person left. Oh, and Rosalind says, love it. What are you working on? Unfortunately, I'm working. Well, that's important too. Keep working. We want you to keep working so that you can be a part, okay, and be helpful. Because if you're not working and you're not getting any income, you're probably not going to be as helpful. Okay, one more person before we sign off. Laurel.
I'm going to do affirmations, actually. I've never done affirmations, so I'll start doing affirmations every day.
Yay, that's what it's about. It's about joining the mastermind, hearing something, gleaning from the wisdom of all of these amazing people, and then doing something different than you've done in the past. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please join us again next week. I love you all. Thank you for your wisdom, your kindness, and your information. And sign on to askarleneshow.com, and you'll be able to see the video and be able to talk more about what's been going on. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.